When wrestling fans entered Madison Square Garden on May 19, 1996, no one could have predicted the seismic consequences of what was supposed to be a standard WWF house show. By the time the untelevised event wrapped up, wrestling history would be rewritten, and the world of sports entertainment would never be the same. When WCW launched Monday Nitro in 1995 to combat then WWF's Monday Night Raw, Ted Turner's promotion threw fuel on the fire of its rivalry with Vince McMahon's company. Thus began a riveting era in wrestling history known as the Monday Night War. In the early days of those television battles, a group of WWF's in-ring stars had consolidated a considerable amount of backstage power over McMahon and his team. The Kliq, as they came to be known, consisted of Shawn Michaels, Paul Levesque, or Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Kevin Nash, then known as Diesel, Scott Hall as Razor Ramon, and Sean Waltman as the 1-2-3 Kid. With McMahon's ear and a commitment to stick together, the Kliq heavily influenced the direction of storylines, the outcome of matches, and the career trajectories of not only themselves, but the WWF roster as a whole. It turns out the only thing that could stop them was WCW, who poached Nash and Hall in 1996 with bigger, more guaranteed contracts than McMahon was willing to offer. The pair's last matches were to take place at an MSG house show on May 19th. No television or pay-per-view audience, just the tens of thousands in attendance in New York. The very last match of that show saw Michaels, a good guy or babyface, take on bad guy or heel Nash. At the time, wrestling promotions went to great lengths to maintain the illusion of their on-screen storylines. Wrestlers were supposed to remain in character at public events, and on-screen rivals weren't supposed to be caught fraternizing together in public. The Kliq was about to turn that sacred, time-old tradition on its head. When the match between Nash and Michaels ended, Levesque, then a heel, and Hall, a face, joined them in the ring. Hall's goodbye hug to Michaels would have been suspect enough, but when Levesque broke character to hug Michaels, Hall, and Nash, any remnants of the WWF's facade came tumbling down. A four-man group hug and a joint salute to the crowd sent fans into a frenzy, but to McMahon and pro wrestling purists, those actions were downright scandalous. The events of that night in New York came to be known as the curtain call, and were seen as an affront to the industry. To McMahon and company, it was already bad enough, but when fan-recorded camcorder footage of the shocking moment hit websites and magazines, the WWF found itself with egg on its face. The fans' camcorders alone had to be snuck in past security. Something needed to be done, and someone had to pay. But with Nash and Hall already en route to WCW, where they would spearhead the NWO and an 84-week dominance over WWF in the Monday TV ratings, Diesel and Razor Ramon couldn't be punished. Meanwhile, Michaels was the WWF champion at the time, one of the company's biggest draws and arguably the entire industry's greatest entertainer. Unwilling to make the Heartbreak Kid the whipping boy, McMahon's fury ultimately came down on Levesque. As punishment for the curtain call, plans for Triple H to make the finals of the 1996 King of the Ring tournament were scrapped. In his place, the company pushed an up-and-comer by the name of Stone Cold Steve Austin. In the aftermath of winning the 96 King of the Ring by beating legend Jake the Snake Roberts in the final, Austin delivered an unforgettable on-mic promo that made him an overnight superstar.
Talk about your Psalms, talk about John 3:16. Austin 3:16 says I just whipped your ass.
From the moment Austin 3:16 entered wrestling fans' lexicon and into the 21st century, Stone Cold became the most fervently supported wrestler. A beer-chugging anti-hero who, along with The Rock, helped spearhead the so-called Attitude Era that propelled WWF back to the top. The Attitude Era and WWF ratings were also greatly aided by a Michaels and Levesque-led faction known as D-Generation X that may never have come to fruition if not for the events of the curtain call. During one scripted promo in 1997, Michaels and Triple H even used footage of the infamous incident to troll a ringside McMahon.
Wait a minute, that was supposed to be Vince McMahon's biggest day, the first time Madison Square Garden had been oh, it's off the screen. Oh, Vin man, what's the matter? That subject's still a little too sensitive for you, Vin man.
It was exactly that type of rebellious, anti-authority attitude that birthed DX, which was WWF's answer to the NWO. Along with Stone Cold, The Rock, and a more obscene brand of storytelling, DX helped WWF squash WCW once and for all. McMahon eventually bought out the company in 2001. The curtain call had peeled back the curtain on the entire industry, but by tapping into it and embracing a more raw identity in which the lines between reality and fiction were sometimes blurred, McMahon's promotion was forever better off. After years of merely providing play-by-play for his company's televised events, it was around this time that McMahon began including himself in storylines, often pitting himself against the likes of Austin, DX, and others, to much fanfare. And it was all thanks to 4 wrestlers who wanted to give each other a friendly send-off in front of an unwitting crowd, and a couple young fans whose footage of the incident went viral before viral was even a thing. 19 years later, former members of the Kliq surprised those fans back at MSG in hilarious fashion.
We taped it not to sell it, not to trade it. What we did is,
hey guys,
what's up?
You guys know, like in the beginning of those shows, there's like a disclaimer about, you know, like shooting video and prosecuting to the fullest extent of the law. So I'd like to have these officers just have a word with you guys. Thanks. All right, get these guys out of here. Get them in. Get them in.
Sorry.
Bootlegging's a crime.
If you were a fan of wrestling during its late 90s heyday, or remain one today, you owe much of what the industry has become to the curtain call. How ironic that in a form of sports entertainment often mocked for its fiction, one of the most influential moments in wrestling history was an unscripted one with no TV cameras in sight. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video and want to see more content like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button.